What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Bilal, and joining me today for Gamecast episode 84 is none other than the best fan in the chat that we usually have, my good pal, NG. What's up, NG?
What's up, Bilal? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. For those tuning in, expecting a Game of the Year discussion, um, turns out we're not having it this week, and it's been postponed another week. You see what happened was Rob messaged me this morning saying, "Hey, Bilal, I know you've been pushing me to have the Game of the Year podcast on my wife's birthday, but I'm putting my foot down. I clearly did not forget that it was my wife's birthday, and I didn't wait till the last minute to tell you. He just really put his foot down this morning and was just like, I can't do it. Find somebody else or I quit. So, props to you, Rob. I know your wife was really looking forward to a Game of the Year podcast for her birthday.
I mean,
That,
who
that
wouldn't, right?
yeah,
Like, who wouldn't?
I don't know why you took this away from her. But you know what? She'll have to wait a week. But you know what? Happy birthday. Uh, and we'll just have to announce that Scarlet Nexus is Game of the Year next week. You know, wait, you know what, Angie? Me and you can do this right now. We can do the Game of the Year podcast right now.
If that's what you want, Bilal, I'm here as a guest. I will kindly oblige to whatever the host would
I
like to
mean,
do.
me and you have been playing the same game for the last couple of weeks. If anyone's been tuning into the Tuesday night streams, they'll very well know that we've been streaming some Gloomhaven, and so
And
Edgy, how's that been going for the
I
folks that
mean,
haven't
I
tuned in?
mean, for the folks that haven't tuned in, even though Bilal says we've been streaming, it's more like Bilal's been killing his own teammates half the time. Like he deliberately killed one of our teammates during one of the campaigns. He opened a door, which then led to our death in the most recent campaign. I don't know. He just has this tendency to want to kill his team off. I don't know why.
Listen, all I'm saying is I did it. I did it. I killed them.
Uh
I
huh.
willingly killed them. Um, because I could, and we could win that campaign. And then I was peer pressured into opening that door.
No. There was no peer pressure. Who were you peer pressured from? Huh? Huh?
I
Huh?
don't know. First, Ergen was saying, "Hey, we should open that door." And like, let's paint a picture of what happened in the Gloomhaven campaign yesterday. So if you caught our stream last week, we tried a level and just got decimated. Or was it 2 weeks ago where we tried it and got absolutely decimated? And then we went back yesterday and we did it right. We didn't open doors too early. We took our time room by room, and we prioritized certain enemies. And I think one of the problems with Gloomhaven is you really can't take too many risks. Otherwise, you waste an hour, an hour and a half. Like you'll still get experience from that campaign level, but at the end of it, like if you don't beat the level, you fail. You just kind of feel like shit. Like we gotta sit down and play through that again, and that can take anywhere between like an hour to an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a lot of times where it's kind of a perfect storm because even though you think you have the perfect strategy, I think the thing that makes it fun and a little bit exciting, there is still some RNG in there, right?
Yes.
Um, the RNG, in my opinion, basically makes or breaks the campaign because all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this guy. Everything logically, mathematically makes sense, and then it's like NG goes for the sword, swings and misses, and does a 360 and falls on his face without hitting the enemy. Those are the moments you kind of live for. Unfortunately, we have had a lot of those lately. Bilal claims that I have good RNG. I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
You know,
Enemies will swing at you and do no damage multiple times.
yeah,
For the
because
rest of the where the rest of us are just getting absolutely decimated.
I'm a tank. I prepped my character to tank. What can I tell you? Huh?
And so to paint the picture a bit better, because I think Rob's not here to rush me on this one.
Sure.
Gloomhaven is a tabletop board game, and so Angie and I were playing with two of our friends before COVID even happened, and so uh, I think the digital version has really sped it up for us, but it still takes quite a while. Like, I know when we finished last night, my wife's like, "You did 2 campaigns, didn't you?" And I was like, "It's like, yeah," and then she just kind of like was very short with me for the rest of the night, and then she's like, "You didn't eat dinner. Just make sure you eat." And I'm going to bed. And I was like, shit, I really messed up. So it's like you got to be like, it does take a while. I think we played for like 4 hours last night.
I think so.
Yes,
Something like
and
that.
that was 2 mission runs. And so the structure works like this. NG is the host. He has our save
Save file. Yep,
He sends
exactly.
out a multiplayer code, which will take to log in, and then we get assigned our characters, and you start off in Gloomhaven, the town, and you can go to the merchant, you can go to the temple and receive blessings, which will give you 2 times 2. So it's like if you ever played D&D, it's like rolling a 20 essentially, and you get 2 of those added to a deck modifier. So every time you attack an enemy, the game draws from this deck modifier. So it can include critical miss, -2 to your attack, -1, 0, +1, and +2. And then there's other status ailments you can add as you unlock perk points to level up your character. So I know, like yesterday, you leveled up and you unlocked these status modifier cards for your deck that allow you to pierce through shielded enemies. Like if they have up to 3 shields and you draw that card, you can really wreck them. There's a little bit of RNG there, but like it's something we desperately need because a lot of the enemies we have run into, it'd be which you know what? Sometimes with D&D, nothing makes sense lore wise. Like it's a living skeleton, but it has 3 shield. It's a skeleton. What kind of armor does it have? Unless its bones are made of adamantium, I don't know what's going on.
It's not necessarily that it has armor, but like there's no vitals that you can attack, so it just has increased toughness. Bilal, what is there to what don't you understand?
I don't understand how I can hit it for 4 and only do 1 damage. And that's what I don't get. But it's like Gloomhaven is a tough game. A lot of the times we'll get to the very end of a final room and just be like, can we pull this off? And I feel like the game is tightly designed that if as long as you're not doing something too stupid, like opening doors too early, like we did, like I did. Let me make the correction there. I opened that door way too early, and so that ends up causing. We started in a room with 5 skeletons and 4 living corpses, all which can hit multiple times against you. It's a tough room already, and so we took out 80% of that room. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just open that door? Might as well open that door, and then there's like,
and then come these living spirits
yes, 8
that can attack 3 of us all in one turn, or 4 of us all in one turn.
Yeah.
And then they're just like think of it kind of like, oh, we're in World War II and we're just running and they're just shooting at us from like distance and there's nothing we could do.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing we could do.
It's like a horror movie, like when somebody opens that door and they see the monster standing there, and then you try to close it, but you're like, no, me closing this door will do nothing because he's right at that door, and I need to run.
We opened the door. We saw Jason, Freddy, and Mike Myers, all just waiting there for us.
Exactly, and we didn't take care of Chucky the doll before. Like we're like, you know what? We'll kick Chucky in a bit, but let's just try moving onwards.
I mean, it's just Chucky. It's just a little doll. Whatever. We got this.
He's only had 10 movies where he's been.
I mean, we're fine. Yeah,
we didn't underestimate the enemies. But no, I've really been enjoying those streams. I think I really wish we I really wish this final version of this game had come out earlier in COVID.
In the COVID, yeah, for sure.
Because we were playing this pretty frequently once we got started, but the problem was the setup time, getting 4 people together in one place, and then making sure our significant others didn't hate us for being
Yeah, 100%. I think doing this in person, just setting up the board was like an hour and a half, just setting up the board. And I think Bilal is going to go and grab the box with all the different pieces and all the different parts, but literally setting up the board, setting up all the characters, all the enemies that we would see, and then
it's a 20-pound box. It's ridiculous.
even after setting it all up, half the time, I'm pretty sure we would spend another half hour saying, wait, am I interpreting this rule correctly? Can I do this? Or is it supposed to be this? So that was most of our time. Whereas I think definitely now bringing it into a game like on Steam, everything's a lot more streamlined and a lot easier. And so far, I would say, except for the one time where there was a soft lock, I think overall the game has run relatively smoothly as well.
Yeah, I think the one thing I kind of miss from the actual tabletop experience is like you spend an hour and a half or hour and a half running these scenarios, and like on the tabletop version you could be like, you know what? Let's just redo that turn. Let's not make this a wipe. Let's house rules. Okay, everyone gets one roll again on this, and you can't do that because like had we
But Bilal, that's cheating.
I don't care. Well, you got a baby. It's a whole different ball game. I just I wish there was.
I get it.
I wonder if there's a Steam Workshop thing that's just like, hey, let's roll back that decision. You know, like here you go, just like roll back the last 5 minutes.
I mean, who are the devs of the game? Like, how hard is it to add in an undo button? It can't be that hard. You have logs of everything, right? Exactly. You know, just a little rewind function and whatnot.
Yeah.
But honestly, I thought you were gonna go somewhere else with this. As in, I do think it is different playing in person. You know, obviously, even when we meet up, we'll probably have some food and some other stuff. So it's a completely different experience. And I'll pivot us a little bit, and we can get a little bit to the news, or we can wait a little bit better.
Let's wait
there are definitely certain things where I think playing in person has a different vibe to it.
Yeah.
But if we get to the news, I think the top news of this week, Bilal, if you want to announce it, a major announcement was brought up, and go for it.
Okay? Yeah, let's head into the news then. NG, can you explain to the audience how much money $68.7 billion is? You're a money man. You are the Workprint's financial expert.
I do work in finance, and while 68 billion?
68.7 billion. It could have been 69 billion, but they denied us.
Yes, it was. It was, I think, 68 billion. But the thing is, it's a lot of money. But you also have to look at overall kind of what Microsoft can command, right? Because Microsoft's market cap is $2.3 trillion. So to put that into perspective, 2.3 trillion, right? 2.3 trillion, not even 0.6, 0.06 divided by 2.3. That's literally, Microsoft only spent 2% of their market cap on this deal, which overall is really, really tiny from a total company perspective. But this is a huge bet from a dollar perspective. And honestly, I'll be completely honest. I don't know what Microsoft's play is in this.
It's Game Pass. It's always going to be Game Pass.
I get it, but I mean, for that valuation, for that $68 billion valuation, I don't see an immediate short-term return. This is very much a long-term play, but will this even survive in, I would say, the long term, right? Like, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of amazing brands that are coming with this deal.
Yeah. All right. Have we actually said what the news is? I think we just.
You go for it. Talk about it.
All right. So yesterday morning, I wake up. I head to the bathroom. My son is up. My wife wakes up. She takes him to the changing table. I'm checking my phone as I'm walking over to feed my son, and I see a tweet going from Jason Schreier, who I believe is Bloomberg News, going Microsoft to acquire Activision for $70 billion. And I'm sitting there scratching my head because Activision Blizzard is enormous. They're one of the biggest publishers, developers in the industry. Brands like Overwatch, Diablo, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, StarCraft. Like, these aren't small IPs. These are foundation building blocks of gaming. Like, people are still playing these games. Rob and I have joked that every podcast for like the last 2-3 months involving Activision was just bad news, because of everything with the sexual harassment scandals, everything that Bobby Kotick was hiding, just the treatment of employees, the lawsuit from the state of California. I mean, things have to be bad for the government to actually step in and be like, what the hell is going on over there? And so what I find absolutely nuts is like Microsoft, Phil Spencer saw an opening. So I read through both Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg articles on this, and it seems what happened was as Activision stock was dropping based off the news that was happening, and the employees were calling for the resignation of Bobby Kotick and everyone involved, better sexual harassment, guidelines and protections in place for employees, zero tolerance policies, things like that. Phil Spencer saw an opportunity to go in and start a conversation of, hey, what if we acquire Activision Blizzard here? And so Microsoft, along with their CEO, sat down with Activision and had a conversation. It turns out Bobby Kotick was actually pretty cool on the entire thing. He wasn't really interested in the acquisition by Microsoft. After they reached out, he reached out to 2 other companies, one of them being Facebook, to see if Facebook would be interested in acquiring Activision Blizzard, and the other details weren't given in the article on who that other company was. Facebook, declined to comment on that, but it's interesting that they went out and tried to see how much they could get. And so I think, according to the articles, the reporting, they weren't confirmed, but they're saying, as of right now, Bobby Kotick will stay on as CEO, but once this deal closes in 2023,
he's gone.
He's gone, and
he's 100% gone.
And so, what the articles that were saying is, for Kotick, this gives him a clean way to leave. He's not leaving because of the sexual harassment stuff, the cover-ups. He's leaving because the company got acquired.
Exactly.
He got his payday. And so Bobby Kotick owns 0.53% of Activision Blizzard, which as of yesterday is equivalent of $400 million for him. So it kind of sucks that he gets to walk away $400 million richer without facing any consequences. But if this leads to change for employees, and it allows the employees to create the unions, because there's talks about unions already emerging from the Activision studios, the Blizzard studios.
No, I think it's a great path forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, growing up in kind of an era before we had a lot of these console games, I've always been a big PC gamer.
StarCraft franchise.
Diablo,
Yeah.
Diablo. I remember Diablo 1 before even Diablo 2, right? That was before you even had all these classes. Diablo 2 with the Mad Cow level,
Yeah.
StarCraft
There's no cow
2.
level. I remember that tree.
Exactly. And then World of Warcraft, me and my friend in college, we would actually play World of Warcraft. There was one time where we played to the tune of literally we started after class in college and we ended because we saw the sun rising through the window. So like all great memories, all really fond memories.
No,
But
I remember like even us. For some just background. Angie and I went to high school together. We ran cross country, track and field. Same with our friends Ergen and Danny who are on the Gloomhaven streams. We I think you guys were a year older,
yeah, year or two.
year or
Yep.
two older than me. And after high school, everyone goes off to college, and it wasn't until like Modern Warfare 2 came out where I saw like Ergen
Yep.
post on Facebook. Like I think everybody was just like, it was a game everyone was playing.
Oh yeah, I mean
We
Call of
yeah,
Duty brought us all back together.
yeah,
I see Patronus Maximus Pete
yeah.
on the stream. I met Pete via playing COD as
Yep.
well. So all of these have been great titles and a lot of
It's
fond memories.
it's friendship makers. Like that's what Activision Blizzard is. Like my childhood best
Uh,
friend. We played StarCraft for
yeah,
hours online. It's the
uh,
first clan I joined was in StarCraft.
but 100%. But I think what's been sad and disappointing is that in kind of recent years, all these amazing IPs have kind of fallen by the wayside, right?
Yeah.
I would say Overwatch, while it used to be big in its heyday, I would say Overwatch is a dead game right now. Like, not a lot of people play Overwatch anymore.
Compared to
Or
its heyday, it seems like, and like with the constant delays of Overwatch 2, the lack of news,
exactly,
like the hype around that, Overwatch was all anybody played for the longest time.
100%,
Yeah,
100%.
that
And
game.
like it spawned a legion of fans. You had fans cosplaying the characters from Overwatch. Like there was such a huge community. And then I would say it was also mismanagement of the game. There were some patches that made it unplayable to even the community. And I think you and Rob have talked about it. Activision and Blizzard, I don't think really listen to the community in terms of patching and certain things. And I definitely think hopefully this new management will help change some of that.
Oh yeah, and I think one of the more I think one of the problems that happens with any shooter that dives into esports is balancing of community versus pros. And
For sure.
so it's like you tend to see a lot of games balanced towards the pros, but then it becomes not as fun to play for every player comment. Like I remember playing a lot of Overwatch. I stepped away to play some other games, and coming back to it, everyone's like, "Well, this is the meta," and I was like, "I don't want to play the meta. I just want to like goof around and just play the hero I want to play." But that caused me to quickly drop it. Like I understand with certain games like that is the thing, but it would just be nice. It'd be really nice to just
I get it. I
have
get it.
more just like fun centric gameplay.
No, but I mean, I would if you think about kind of the titles, right? If we're talking about a lot of these titles, these aren't really just fun centric games, right? A
Yeah,
lot of this IP, like StarCraft, I would not call StarCraft a fun centric game, nor would I call.
I stopped. I stopped trying to be good at StarCraft once our friend Sammy was
Oh
like,
yeah.
he's like, hey, let's play StarCraft together. I thought like I was okay, decent at it. He was like a diamond level player.
Oh
It was just
yeah.
like it'd be 3 minutes in, his like Marines would be in my base. I was like, I'll just play against computer. I'm fine.
100%. And where I'm going with this too, like Xbox, Microsoft acquiring them, now they have all this amazing IP. And like all the delays, I was hugely looking forward to Diablo 4. I still remember, I think in one of the past years, they maybe announced the Barbarian class and showed him
Mhm.
off. But then that was it. It was literally they showed the Barbarian and then nothing else. So hopefully it gets sped up with some of these things, but like time will only tell, right?
Yeah.
Because I think while you can rely on nostalgia to move units and continue, it's only going to get you so far, right? Like eventually you do need a finished product.
Yeah,
And
and I think so. And there's like two factors I'll put into play here. There's one was COVID. The entire games industry had to adapt to that, and then on top of that, once news broke about all the
oh
scandals
yeah,
and
for
stuff,
sure.
reports were coming out that the studios are at standstill. At a standstill, like no development work was being done. Teams didn't want to work. They wanted to get to the bottom of this and figure it out. So I'm hoping with this news, like IPs like Diablo and Overwatch get can move forward, can get released, and more importantly, all the issues that the employees do have
100%.
are resolved. Like I hope Microsoft paves the way, like for unionization in gaming. Like I hope they don't become another blocker. You keep hearing companies discuss, Amazon is a famous one, which anti-union. They rather close down a factory than let their factory unionize. Um, and so, I hope Microsoft takes that step forward. I mean, if you're consolidating a lot of, and that's what's happening here. They this still makes them, I think, only the third largest publisher or like games company out there right now. But I do think um, they need to lead with the best foot. Like they have, like it. If you are a PC gamer, you're an Xbox owner, and you're not on Game Pass, I don't know what you're doing. Because if I imagine all these Activision Blizzard games are, they've said it, they're coming to Game Pass, trying to work as soon as possible to get them on there. And if they're releasing day one as well on Game Pass, like why wouldn't you have a subscription? And I think that's what's going to lead to console sales. It's going to lead to like, why would you buy it on PlayStation when I could just have an Xbox subscription and have it that way as well? I was talking to Ergen yesterday, and like he's like, when I got the 3 month thing for Game Pass, I wasn't sure if I was going to renew, but then he's like I saw the news yesterday, and he's like it doesn't make sense. He's like it's the price of 2 to 3 games, and you have access to everything. And like, we'll get into the new releases of games that are coming later this month, but they just keep adding and adding onto it. Like, no one person has remotely the possible time to play through all of it, but there's quality stuff there. It's not like Netflix in its earlier days where you're like, I got Netflix streaming. What's there to watch? Oh, if we wait a year, there's a new season of House of Cards or Orange is the New Black. You know, um, it,
No, I think from a console war perspective,
yeah.
this puts Microsoft and Xbox miles ahead of Sony. Miles ahead of Sony. And I would say
I I almost feel bad for Sony because yesterday
they took Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, which used to be both huge Sony properties.
those are PlayStation memories for me.
And also Spyro.
Yes, Crash, Spyro, like those are 100% PlayStation memories for me.
100%.
I was playing Crash 4, the new Crash Bandicoot. I think they call it Crash 4 now. I was playing that on my Xbox and last year, and I was like, this feels weird. It feels wrong. I feel like I'm not supposed to be doing this. But like, it's not even that. It's like, there's been a rumor. It's been rumored that Sony's working on their own subscription service to challenge Game Pass called Spartacus. But it's like,
But this is where
how are you, like Microsoft's just making these acquisitions one after the other. And
think about it this way. It's kind of the same as kind of Netflix, right? You
Yeah.
can, or even Disney. I think Disney is a better
yeah.
example, right? Like after they've acquired all this IP, while yes, other companies can make their own IP and acquire, but like all the big names have already been taken, and like that's why to me it was a no-brainer. Even originally when Disney Plus went on sale, I bought a 3-year subscription for the low price of like $3 or $4 a month. I was like, I don't know what they're gonna have, but I know they have more than enough IP to be able to generate crazy content, and that's what Microsoft is doing, right? They have a bunch of now this IP that they can grow in any which way should they choose, right? Like all these are monster areas, right?
Yeah.
And like even WoW, I've played it. I haven't played it recently, but the fact that we are still talking about WoW
Mm-hmm.
now speaks for itself. As in, I was playing WoW, World of Warcraft, back in like 2007.
Yeah.
That's 15 years ago.
Feels
Take
like
and
10
if
years old.
you, yeah, I know. And if you even compare that to Amazon's New World,
Yeah.
which I think is already dead in some instances, like it's not doing well from what I hear. New World.
There's a lot of technical issues. Every time I see an article, it's around some sort of economy exploit with gold. Um, it's not great from just the general word. I mean, maybe it'll get better over time, but yeah, it doesn't seem so hot out the gate.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm saying for the longevity of WoW
Mm-hmm.
versus like any other. I don't know of any other MMO that has lasted that long,
Yeah,
except maybe Final Fantasy 14.
yeah, and that game has its own share of problems of being too popular. Yeah. No, but like I think to wrap up some thoughts on this, I'm I think the one positive out of studios that have been acquired and the conversations that have come out over the last couple of years is that these studios under Microsoft now have been given breathing room. Double Fine has said, they were always worried about where money was going to come from for their next project. So the fact that they can now not worry about that and just concentrating on making a good game, Microsoft will take care of them as long as they're putting out the product. They'll have to deliver to a certain degree, yes, but they don't need to worry about that. And then the studio heads meet up, they talk. There's that networking, sharing of information. You're not siloed off into your own studio anymore. You can talk to other creatives, top industry professionals, and learn different tricks and things like that. It's not just like, oh, we have all these studios. It's like, no, now these studios also have all these resources. One of the problems over the last couple of years at Activision, the news was like Toys for Bob, who have done phenomenal work over the years on like, they did Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. They did the amazing remasters for the Spyro trilogy and Crash Bandicoot. They've worked on the Skylander stuff over the years. They're great at platformers. That's what they're known for. And so like people are like, you know what? They should do like a Banjo Kazooie game, which Rare is a property that Microsoft now owns. But Toys for Bob has been turned into a Call of Duty support studio, along with a lot of the others under Activision. So if like that frees them up, maybe we don't need an annual Call of Duty campaign. It seems like even the multiplayer isn't the selling point anymore. It seems like Warzone is what everyone tends to play. So, maybe Call of Duty's formula can change up somewhere. Like it becomes a Fortnite type thing where it's seasonal, and then you're just building off this platform for X amount of years. Battle passes, skins, like those are huge. Like, Fortnite makes billions off of that, while still remaining just one game. And so, if Microsoft can give opportunities to some of those studios to branch out of Call of Duty and do something else, I think that's what I'm most excited to see.
That is definitely exciting, but
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be interested to see. Time will tell what Xbox and Microsoft decide to invest in and what they decide to act.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be super interesting because, exactly to your point, while they do have a lot of resources, they don't have infinite amount of resources. They have a lot. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong. They have a lot, but it's never infinite, right? So it's like, do they make a new Candy Crush, or do they focus on COD, or do they like? Well, we'll see. But I think this is all great news. I think there's a lot that's coming to Xbox Game Pass. I think with some of the games, if you want to talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
on what's coming to Xbox Game
Yeah.
Pass.
So let's jump over to that. So I think first off, we have. Oh God, I didn't even open any of these tabs. So bear with me here. The Hitman. So Hitman
Oh,
trilogy has announced the second year of Hitman 3 content, but they also announced that the Hitman trilogy 1, 2, and 3 are coming to Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass this week. So January 20th, the birthday of the first game, will see the release of all three games, and I believe there are. And here's the cool thing: I Hitman 3 released in a manner that if you had the licenses for Hitman 1 and 2, you could replay all those levels in Hitman 3 with like updated level design and graphics.
nice.
And you could actually carry over your progress from Hitman 1 and 2 into 3. So you could have all your unlockables and stuff come with you. So that was really cool. And they're really fun games. If you enjoy a great stout sandbox, each level is like it's like a grandfather clock. It's like you learn how the pieces, the players, your targets move throughout, how each different scenario can work, and you work your way through it, and you slowly take it apart.
Hitman is an amazing game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I I got really frustrated back in college. I think maybe playing Hitman 2. I tried to get a perfect on the level. I literally spent like 4 hours, maybe more, analyzing every single detail. No one saw me. I was able to, or I didn't think anyone saw me. I got through all that disguises, killed my target, left without a trace, and then, unfortunately, when it came down to the grading at the end of this 4 to 5 hour run, it gives me an A versus like a triple A, and I'm like, what the hell? What went wrong?
You took too
And
long.
apparently, no. Apparently, there was one witness, and I'm like, bullshit. No one fucking saw me.
That's
No
all.
one.
That's all it takes. It's
Oh,
like it's the man. He's a barcode on
oh,
the back of his head.
and then after that, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. 4 hours of my life gone.
Actually, Angie, do you have a Game Pass subscription for
I
PC?
do not. I
Then
do not.
what are you waiting for?
I don't know the law. I don't know, but I mean, like, I already have such a large backlog that like
That's true.
I
It'll only
I
make it
don't.
worse.
Yeah, not even a backlog of games, but even a backlog of shows that I need to watch.
Yeah.
There's only so much time, but Hitman's huge,
Yeah.
and I would say outside of Hitman, there's some other big games coming to the Game Pass as
Yeah.
well.
So I think let me pull this one up and some big heavy hitters on this one. So coming soon to Game Pass. So if you remember 2 weeks ago we did the earlier set, which is absolutely ridiculous, which I believe included like the Mass Effect trilogy, the remaster. And so coming so when was this posted? January 18th, which is yesterday. So the release of Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc Anniversary Edition for cloud, console, and PC. I played this on the Vita. It is a visual novel, whodunit, where a bunch of elite students are brought to a school. Everyone's really good at what they do in their own way, but you're kind of like this average kid, and then you're locked into the school, and everyone is slowly being murdered. So I believe how it works is if someone is murdered, there is a trial that happens, and if the murderer, basically the class has to figure out who the murderer is and accuse them. If they get it wrong, the murderer lives, everyone else dies. But if but if nobody kills anybody, I think I forget how that ended up working. But yeah, essentially, the murderer can kill somebody and get away with it, and then they'll win. But um, it's very good. Very twisty, turny, and the mysteries are pretty good there. Then from the Guacamelee team is Nobody Saves the World, which is a co-op action RPG, um, which has a really good visual style. So those games are already out. Then tomorrow, on cloud, console, and PC is Death's Door. It's like Zelda meets Dark Souls Light. It's very good. Rob and I have been raving about this over the course of last year. Likely be in our Game of the Year discussions. If you have not played it, highly recommend it. Hitman Trilogy, as we said earlier, on cloud, console, and PC on January 20th. Paparazzi is a dog photography game. Puts your love for pups to the test as you take better photos. You unlock new breeds, camera lenses, chew toys, and accessories to dress up dogs with. This sounds like a perfect way to relax if you're a dog lover. So that comes out tomorrow on the 20th.
Kind of like what's that? Pokemon Snap almost, but with
With
dogs.
dogs, yeah. um, then also tomorrow, I think one of the bigger titles for the month is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction, tactical co-op FPS for 1 to 3 players. Think Left 4 Dead meets Rainbow Six Siege. Over 90 weapons and gadgets, 12 ever evolving maps, unpredictable enemy mutations, and 13 dynamic mission types. Rainbow Six Siege Deluxe Edition comes to PC Game Pass on January 20th, as well as Windjammers 2 to cloud, console, and PC, which is a flying disc game. I haven't played the original Windjammers, but I hear it's very competitive. So I might take a shot at Windjammers.
Give it a spin.
Yeah, and like, here's the thing. Tomorrow is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top quality games. Like, these games are nothing to like be like, this is just like another reality show on Netflix that drops, or like a Christmas holiday movie on Netflix. You know, these are like games, like, in my opinion, must play games. And so, and you throw Activision Blizzard in there. Who has time to watch or play any of this? And then you know this next one pretty well. Have you played this Taiko New?
I haven't played it on console or PC, but back when I was in Hong Kong and Japan, this is actually, in my opinion, a ton of fun in actual arcades. And like, I've always had great experience with it at the arcade. If you have like this big drum, and yeah, you play it. I think you can buy an accessory, just like some other rhythm games. You can buy an accessory.
Yeah,
exactly. Where you can play it that way, but yeah, it's fun. It's a rhythm game, basically.
So I think this comes to console and PC on January 27th, so next Thursday. And yeah, it has over 70 songs, and you can play with friends in local multiplayer mode or online ranked matches. Yeah, pretty neat. And then in case you did miss it, Spelunky 2 is out on cloud, as well as, I think, console and PC. And the Anacrusis is out as well on cloud, and console and PC. DLC and game updates, Far Changing Tides gets as a pre-install available. And then, you know, for the Halo fans out there, there is a new reward called the Past Tense Warthog Bundle, which includes a Warthog coding, as they pull it, a challenge swap, and 4 double XP boosts, and 4 challenge swaps available there. Doom Eternal, Raise Hell with 3 cosmetic packs. World of Tanks has a trifecta bundle. And they've added 9 more touch control games to cloud gaming, including Nobody Saves the World, Stardew Valley, Unpacking, Forgotten City, Death's Door, Archville, Space Warlord, Oregon Trading Simulator, X1, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, and Anvil. And then
Stardew is huge for mobile.
Touch for Stardew?
That's huge.
That sounds like I'm gonna be stuck in the bathroom when my wife is gonna be
I agree.
What are you doing in there? I'm farming. Leaving Game Pass at the end of the month on January 31st is Cyber Shadow, Nowhere Prophet, Prison Architect, and Xeno Crisis. I know you have a backlog, but like, I think with the friend circle we have, one of the best things I think that has come out of Game Pass has been, if we just want to sit down and play something, it no longer requires us to be like, hey, it's on a Steam sale. Does anyone want it? Hey, I bought a bundle.
You mean? Oh, hey, NG, you should get F1 2022. We'll play it together. Okay, Bilal, I'll get it. Bilal, where are you? Hello.
I had a baby. How long can I use that baby excuse for, NG?
I don't know. And then next thing I know, I'm gonna get Game Pass, and you're like, well, actually.
We're on the PS5 Spartacus program now. We all got PS accounts. Yeah, no, it's an exciting time for gaming. I think like the calm
For
before the
sure.
storm is kicking off, especially next month with Dying Light 2, Horizon Forbidden West, and Elden Ring. I can't wait. Yeah,
For sure.
yeah,
I think it's a great era to be a gamer and enjoy all these different titles, IPs, and games that are coming out. Obviously, I think the biggest thing, and you've talked about this many times in prior pods, is just the ability to play the games,
yeah.
the actual hardware behind it, right? Give it the COVID market, depending. If you're a PC gamer, I mean, best of luck.
Yeah.
Best of
I
luck.
Yeah, it sucks with it sucks if you're trying to build a PC. I have family or friends that have been trying to just get a good decent graphics card, and it's just like they're like I just need this missing piece, and they don't have it. Um, but yeah, I
I
think
think it's a little bit better to actually get an Xbox or a PS5. I think it's a little bit easier from what I can tell
compared to a
versus,
graphics card, yeah,
yeah,
I
compared to a
agree.
graphics card, yeah, good luck. Like, that's it. And I think it'll be interesting to see if, and this will be super interesting, will Xbox Game Pass work with the Steam Deck?
So that is the question. Because Steam Deck has
A browser.
no, Steam Deck runs on Linux right now. But you can what Valve has said is you can uninstall.
Well, if it can run on
You can
Linux, you
install
can
Windows
have
on
it.
it. You can
Yeah,
install Windows on it if you want, and make it a PC, and then have Game Pass. But how well will it run? I think that's the curious thing. And for me, like you know me, I've I'll buy the gaming tech gadget. I think with the Steam Deck, I'm going with the Apple approach on this one, where you don't buy the first generation of it, you buy the second generation of it,
for sure.
hoping there is a second generation of it. Because right now, when I look at the Steam Deck, it's really cool. There's a lot I would like to do with it, but it reminds me of like buying the DS or the 3DS when it came out, because then like Nintendo's gonna put out that DS Lite or that new slim 3DS XL, and you're like,
For
damn it,
sure.
I should have waited a year.
Like, I'm not saying go out and get it right away, but like, I think it has such a huge potential.
Yeah,
And being PC, like, while you say it's Linux and whatnot, you don't think some guy is gonna bootleg slash put their own OS and whatnot, like a Raspberry Pi, because essentially it's a computer, right? So I think just the community around that is going to make it's they're going to find a way to make it work. I guarantee you, within the first 3 months, someone will have figured out a way to
yeah,
also allow for Xbox Game Pass to work on Steam Deck.
yeah,
And
and that'd be great. About like I've talked about the Backbone controller. There's alternatives if you just want to use your phone. I mean,
for sure,
I've been playing through Psychonauts 2, and over the weekend I popped in Backbone, went to use cloud gaming, and I beat a boss. Like I played through an entire level, beat the boss at the end of it, and like next to no latency, no lag at all. Like I didn't feel like it was a hindrance in any way. Like the tech is getting there. It's getting better and better every year. And I think like maybe in 3 years time, like people will just be playing cloud games and just be like, yeah, no, this is just how I play it. Like, why would I download a 100 gig game when it plays just fine in my web browser?
fair. I
Yeah.
think, but for cloud gaming though, I think this you bring up a great point on latency.
Mm-hmm.
Does that work on every single type of game?
It
Right?
in my opinion, it doesn't. Like I don't play shooters on it, but I could play platformers. I could play RPGs just fine.
Yep,
Strategy games.
100%.
Yeah. Like I've if I if I'm just doing some like quick cleanup in a first person shooter like that's open world like Halo Infinite was, like I could do that, but like it's still I could never feel just right with it. Um, I wish there was a way. Maybe technology does advance in a way where like maybe some of it could be local on the thing and you don't get lag. I'm not sure how that tech would work, but it would be very interesting to see if.
No, for sure. And I think even with some other games, our other friend, as I know you and I are big into F1,
Mhm.
um, Largy, our other friend, he's competitive in like sim racers.
Yeah.
And there was one time where he actually got spun out and then he watched the replay and the other car actually never touched him. But because of netcode and rollback, it caused the accident and then he spun, right?
Yeah.
So it's things like that where it's like, I definitely agree. Platformers and certain things like RPGs, all those are fine to play on cloud. I have no
Yeah.
issue. But I think the issue comes definitely in like racing games, in fighting games, and like other games that are more first person shooters that are
Yeah.
much more competitive in nature.
Yeah. No, 100% agree with you with that. Yeah, and like it does open up some cool possibilities too. Like, there was a night where Will and Ergen were playing Sea of Thieves, and I got the Discord
Oh,
call,
yeah.
and I was like, I want to play, and I was at my in laws. I had my backbone, and I was like, wait a second, fired up cloud gaming. They shot me an invite. I was in there. I wasn't on mic because I was just like lounging my and like talking with my in-laws. But at the same time, I was also with them, like plundering treasure, fighting off skeletons, and it was just really cool that I could just do that and jump in that easily.
For sure.
Yeah,
I think it's changed in the aspect where you can literally game anywhere,
yeah,
right? You don't need to be at home in front of your TV and whatnot. But I will say that living room experience, there honestly isn't quite anything like it,
yeah,
right? It still is nice to be able to game on a couch, in front of a nice screen or a monitor, and go from there. While the mobile solution is great, I wouldn't say it's ideal. Definitely, there are certain games that are ideal, like we talked about it earlier.
yeah,
Stardew Valley on a phone, moneymaker.
yeah. But you speak of the living room experience, and there's one experience you won't be able to have too much more of, and that's the Xbox One experience.
Oh no.
Because Microsoft has stopped making Xbox One consoles. You know what? Good move, because I think the name confusion it still kind of exists, because there's
I
the
mean,
Xbox One
I,
S, the one Xbox One X, and they had the Series X, Series S. I honestly I always thought that name thing was a little bit overblown, but I think the sooner you take out the Xbox One consoles, the better the Series X and S can thrive. Especially the S, which is it's a $300 console that does so much so well, and it's so tiny. So not much more to say here. It's kind of funny in contrast to Sony though, who announced that they're making 1 million. I think they said they're going back in production with PS4s to help with the PS5 shortage, because they do have some cross generation games like Horizon Forbidden West is also coming to the PS4. I think God of War Ragnarok might also be cross generation. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But they have had a couple releases like Spider-Man Miles Morales, where they were both on PS4 and PS5. So it's really interesting to see Microsoft going, hey, we're stopping last generation consoles in production. But it does make sense to me, at least, because I do see more and more reports of people finding Series S in stores, and Series X seemed to be more in stock. Maybe it was just post holiday period. But even in time of the holidays shopping, it seemed like they were more readily available. Like Microsoft was holding them for Halo, and then like that shipment ended, and the next one came, and like hey, like if I want one, I can just go out and buy one.
for sure. And I think this kind of ties into their overall strategy, right? With the whole Xbox Game Pass and PC
Yeah.
gaming as well. Like it makes sense on all fronts for Microsoft.
Yeah, and so going from things you can no longer buy to things you can start buying again, Final Fantasy 14 is finally. Come on, story. Why aren't you loading? Final Fantasy 14 digital sales will resume with new servers going online soon in some regions. So January 25th. So for those unfamiliar with the story, Final Fantasy 14 became so popular over 2021 that servers were getting congested to all hell. I'm talking about like hour-long queues to just sign in. They have, and it's a meme at this point. One of the best trial periods ever, which is just the base game and the entire first expansion that you can just go in and play for free. That's, in my opinion, about like almost 200 hours of worth of content, including the raids, all the dungeons. Like, and the story is great. Um, so all that's available for free, and then you can buy a subscription, and then the other expansions as well. And so it became so popular last year they had to suspend sales of the game, just so they could alleviate the server load. So what they're doing is they're rolling out new data centers to ease server congestion, and sales return on January 25th. And the Oceania data center, serving Australia, New Zealand region, they will also be adding 5 new worlds for regional players to transfer to help alleviate some of this stuff. A lot of this congestion does come around the release of Endwalker, which was the latest expansion for Final Fantasy 14, which is the culmination of everything this game has been up to for, I think, the last decade. So, there's a lot of hype, a lot of build up, especially with how good the previous expansion, Shadowbringers, was. So, I'm glad to see the solution is coming sooner rather than later. It does seem, I think, for North America and European, new data centers will be expanding out in July and August, so those are still a ways out. But at least for some regions, hopefully that will alleviate the congestion there.
Yeah, that should be huge.
Yeah.
Never got into it, but I've always heard great things about Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. I put it this way: the base game is, it's a lot of fetch quests, but it has a very good story that gets good towards the end of the base game. So it's a decent MMO for the first 60 hours, and then it takes off and does like the next 20, and then the Heavensward expansion is fantastic from beginning to end. One of my favorite Final Fantasy stories in there. And that's kind of where I left off. I still have to play through Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and now Endwalker. I guess when my son is 18, if Final Fantasy 14 is still a thing, I will go back and play through all that.
Nice.
We have a troll in the chat, Sunny Vice 20. So it's the first Final Fantasy with a good story. Let's see. Can we mute? Oh no, he's a mod. Oh, mistakes were made. Let's see. What is next on our story list? Here. Oh, you have one, Angie. About the PGL.
Yeah. So this is a bit old, but this was kind of in the sense of even Overwatch with I personally don't think there's and will be a bit divisive, but I honestly don't think there's a place for Overwatch in the current FPS community right now. I think as much as this shocked you a bit,
yeah,
but CS:GO is at an all-time high in just competitive play and competitive region and viewership. It's actually the 7th most popular esports event in history, beaten only by League of Legends and this free fire game from like Asia,
which
is
game.
yeah, which is huge if you really think about it. It's CS:GO, a game that has been around since God knows how long at this point. But I think the cool thing about what CS has compared to all other esports is I would say that their their stories have been amazing. So Simple, having always been a huge name in the CS community,
Hmm.
this year Simple and Navi have just been destroying it in the pro scene. Simple went from never winning a major, to winning a major, winning multiple things, and Navi is like the team to beat now. Like the storyline is always there. And honestly, I think you'll agree with me, especially in esports. An awesome story or a compelling story gets more people to watch.
It goes a
Like,
long way. Like in the fighting game community, like watching Sonic Fox rise. I think it was Mortal Kombat versus DC, and then even like
yep,
Dragon Ball
Mortal
Fighters.
Kombat versus DC
Yeah,
MK11,
yeah.
and I would say probably around 2 years ago, the whole Sonic Fox Go Ichi rivalry in DBZ Fighters was huge. Like, I'm not gonna lie, after their first round in Evo, I hated Sonic Fox because of that. Because Sonic Fox, in my opinion, um,
Was that when he did the
I
chair switch?
yep, that I hated him for that chair
So for
switch.
those that don't know, I think Sonic Fox lost that first round, and
So
then instead of
Sonic
getting
Fox was in winner's bracket.
he's in one
So
bracket.
Goichi needed to reset the bracket and then go in. So Goichi reset the bracket and was like on a winning streak. Sonic Fox had no answer. And then Sonic Fox was like, I want to change from player one or player two or player two to player one.
Yeah, basically from
And
left to right or right to left side of the screen, and then
unfortunately, because Goichi is Japanese, he didn't speak English. They had to get a translator, make sure it gets in on the rule book. But after like 5 to 10 minutes of deliberation, they finally
the
do it.
coin flip, right?
No, Goichi finally understood
Mhm.
and let him have the thing switch. But by that time, if you're ever into the FGC, like momentum's huge. No one believes it, but like
Yeah.
momentum's huge. And by that point, he cooled off and then
Immediately
proceeds to
triggered.
lose. Exactly,
Yeah.
he proceeds to lose. But in the very next year, we get a run back in Evo of the exact same matchup, Goichi versus Sonic Fox. And it was just amazing. And Goichi finally won and actually started crying on the Evo platform. But like, it's just stories like that make esports thrive. And my own personal take, like Overwatch is dead, and I don't think Overwatch is going to come back to fight with the likes of CS:GO or even I would say
Halo has
another.
been huge recently.
I would even say Valorant.
Yeah.
All the pros left CS:GO to go to Valorant. I don't see why any pro in any of these games would want to go back to Overwatch after the way Blizzard mishandled that whole pro scene and esports scene.
Well, I know Race was part of he's part of Major League Gaming, got acquired by Activision, and I think even he has mentioned just like the mishandling of like the esports scene there on a lot of that. I think he talked about it when he was last on. But yeah, I agree with you. They built up so much. There was so much hype around the teams and things, and it wasn't even COVID that killed it.
Yeah, no,
It was just like the hype completely went away with everything with that game. It just kind of stagnated, and they couldn't keep it fresh. And overall, in my opinion, Overwatch 2 should have been out
oh
this
yeah,
past year.
for sure.
And if they don't hit 2022, I don't know. I agree with you. I think people will play it, like especially now that it will be coming to Game Pass. I don't imagine it
For
won't be on
sure.
Game Pass. Beyond Game Pass, people will check it out on PC, on Xbox, and if it can recapture what that first one did for a lot of folks, then I could see it thriving. I don't know on an esports level if it will
Yeah.
rekindle what it once had, and maybe it doesn't need to. As
Yeah,
long
and
as
that's fine
yeah,
too.
that's fine
That's
too.
fine too.
I would just love a good campaign for Overwatch. They have a cool set of characters and worlds. So do something cool there. Like Cuphead. Cuphead. Did you ever play Cuphead, Angie?
I have not. I've heard It is a super difficult game. If you hate yourself, you'll want to play
So
Cuphead.
it's difficult until you learn it. Is the best way. It's like Contra back in the day. It's like you gotta learn the patterns of the level, and you make it through. It takes time. It takes practice.
Yeah, you say that like, oh yeah, it's like Contra back in the day.
Yeah.
Me as a kid, I've never beaten a game of Contra.
You really haven't.
I've never beaten a game of
Okay.
Contra, so I don't know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, it's simple like
Well,
Contra.
but you beat in a couple of levels of Contra, right?
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
never the whole game.
But you can do that. You can do Cuphead. If
I
I can beat Cuphead, you can beat Cuphead.
Well, but I also hold that to the same regard as in I'm guessing Cuphead has saves, whereas back in the
Yeah.
day, I'm talking about old school Contra. You
From the
needed to beat it
beginning.
in one go.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for those that weren't aware, Netflix is doing a Cuphead the show, animated series featuring Cuphead and Mugman. Um it looks fantastic. It has that great art style the game did. And the humor is there, and I think like the great thing about Cuphead, it captured this era that's like long gone, and like the show, I think captures that really well, too. Uh, it does seem like it does have some updated animation style and like effects compared to that
The
era of the
game.
cartoon. Yeah, no,
Oh
no, the
yeah,
show
yeah.
itself, but I think it mixes like the past and modern really well in what it's trying to accomplish. And the show is slated to release on where is it? February, I believe. Yeah, let's go jump to the end of this trailer. Cuphead, February 18th. The first season will drop on Netflix.
I'll
Um,
definitely check it out.
yeah, it looks like it'll be a ton of fun. So very excited to check that out. But I think that does it for the news, Angie. Um, so this is where we just kind of shout out what's going on. You have anything you want to plug?
Not too much. I think the biggest thing I will see, I'm gonna start gaming more, or I'm gonna try to game more, and hopefully, I'll be able to game in my car as I should be taking delivery of my car soon, which I think
Oh, your
actually,
Tesla. Is
yeah,
it?
which definitely does have some. I think I can play Witcher on that. I think I'm not sure,
So
but
when
we'll
you'll be
see.
sitting in traffic playing Witcher.
I'll need to figure out a whole controller setup because I don't know. I think you can connect an Xbox controller to the Tesla, but I'm not 100% sure.
That'd be pretty funny. I want to see. I want to see a picture of that when that happens.
But besides that, not too much. Uh, and we'll see if next time you bring me back, if I am around. I think in regards to games, it's a bit more of a real life game. Going to be doing a money heist escape room this Saturday.
Oh, that snuck up a lot faster than I expected. You've been watching some of those early seasons of Money Heist, haven't you?
I've already finished the first 3 seasons. I'm on the fourth season, so I've caught up. I would say relatively quickly.
So you're
I
doing
will hold.
the Money Heist Experience NYC, which is like it's in
Yes,
an escape room. Is the best way to?
it seems like it's an escape room. It's in a bank in Brooklyn. So it's pretty cool. They picked a cool setting. An old bank in Brooklyn. So we'll see. I don't know exactly what it entails, but me and some friends we did sign up for it. So it seems like it might be an escape room, but I don't know. Like you have to find clues. It seems like, and then you got to break into a safe, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing yeah. So we'll see.
So yeah, join the gang, crack the codes, you manage to break into the safe, get the gold, celebrate at the bar. So there are drinks after.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a fun time. Yeah, I know. I saw our buddy Ergen send that out, and I was like, ooh, this looks like a cool thing. people without kids would do. And then I was like looked over at my wife and I saw the crying baby and I was like, it's like no, you know what? I don't know if if this is we'll be able to make it to this one, but I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it once you guys do run through.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then, is there any particular stream that you want to plug?
Workprint, I guess. Please follow the Workprint. Follow, like, subscribe.
That Gloomhaven stream that you've been a part
Oh
of.
yeah. The Gloomhaven stream. And definitely look out for our shenanigans and antics.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll be able to finish the campaign soon. I don't even know how long the campaign is.
You say soon. I think we have a year's worth of content.
Oh, 100%. At least minimum a year's worth of content. But definitely join in. A lot of fun and shenanigans. Tune in to me yelling at Bilal for not doing his job. Or tune in to me going to Bilal, I'm going to save you. I'm going to save you. Oh, actually.
That was a good laugh. And yes, come in and watch and you say he will protect me and not protect me. All right, let me do my plugs for myself and the site. You guys can follow me, Bilal, on Twitter at Bilal_Meon, on Twitch at Night Mystic. But honestly, I think I speak for Rob and myself. We just mostly stream on the Workprint. So follow the Workprint on Twitch, and you can also follow the Workprint on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. At the search the Workprint, usually one word. You'll find us. You'll find us there. We have a lot of great content going up on the site. Christian, who was on last week, has done a phenomenal job bringing on new writers who have been doing great pieces. We have Rebecca Wang? Yeah, Rebecca Wang with Arcane Season 1 analysis on the themes of the series. If you watched that first season, definitely check out that piece. Bassam has been doing recaps of Marvel's Wastelander Black Widow, which is a podcast put out by Marvel, the third of the Wastelander line, which follows Black Widow and what happened 30 years after V-Day. Our Yellow Jackets reviews have come to an end along with season 1, so if you've been following Yellow Jackets, definitely tune in to that finale article by other Rob. And then Nicole has been doing a Discovery of Witches season 3 recaps for the site. And we also have a really fun article from, there's a lot of the writers, from Chris Peruzzi on, 3 new Marvel characters that Disney Plus should definitely bring on to that network. So a lot of fun content being added to the site. So if you love TV, geeky Marvel stuff, comic book news, stay tuned. There's a lot there. And then, as NG mentioned, Tuesday nights, we are doing the Gloomhaven campaign streams. If we decide to do another one throughout the week, we will post about it on Instagram and our Twitter accounts and let you guys know. And what else? Next week is our Game of the Year podcast, unless Rob has another wife with another birthday that we don't know about.
Ooh.
I think he's gonna kill me for that one.
Ooh. I had nothing to do with this, Rob. I'm telling you now, I have nothing to do with what he just said.
And so, no, I'm glad because I know I did ask for another week, so I can wrap up Psychonauts 2. I did play a ton of Inscription. I'm almost done with that. But we'll talk all about that next week, and hopefully there's not another acquisition of any kind. I love everybody that tunes in. Enjoy the chat. And NG, thank you for jumping in last minute. I know it was unexpected, but you have always been my go-to in an emergency.
For clutch situations, I understand.
And you're now officially, you can add it to your resume, Workprint's financial pundit.
Oh, okay.
For your future career in finance, just showing up on, what is it, like CNBC or something.
So this site called the Workprint,
It's kind of a big deal on the internet. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining. Catch you guys next